The more eyes that you can get on your content and, on your goods or services, whatever your business is or side hustle, you can really use Twitter to help scale it up. Or you come across someone that's, really engaging with your content, you can make that initial contact and doing that, you're going to start to kind of make yourself more reputable. You're going to start to, I really like it because the ones I'm in, the channels they're very fruitful. They give you information that you can see results on.
So basically, I started out on Twitter this year, and what Lee showed me on Twitter was really great and impactful. So we decided we're going to do a video on this to share this with everyone. So we're going to cover how to use Twitter to grow your network, how to promote your business on Twitter, and how you actually use Twitter to help people achieve financial freedom. So first things first, I want to do a quick introduction of you to the viewers. So 3 quick questions. First question is, who is your most inspiring person, your guru that you would recommend everyone should know?
Okay, yeah. So, thank you again for having me on this, Alex. I really do appreciate it.
With pleasure.
One of my mentors, I'd say his name is Art of Purpose, and he's on Twitter actually. He goes by a nickname also AOP, but he started off as a music teacher in the public school system, and then from there he turned himself into like a 6-7 figure entrepreneur on Twitter, helping people to really, grow their brand on Twitter, grow their business, and it's been very impactful to my Twitter growth as well.
So he basically influenced you on your Twitter journey as well, right?
Yeah, for Twitter itself. Yeah.
Cool. And then second question, what is your best book ever?
Oh, wow, that's a hard one. I'd say my best book ever probably would be The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. There were just a lot of really foundational things just with entrepreneurship and with personal finance that I really found it very helpful and inspiring. And it's a great book. I think everybody should read it at least
The
one
Richest
time.
Man in Babylon. Okay, is there also a book The Richest Woman in Babylon for me?
It definitely applies both to men and women.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna definitely link that one in the video because I don't know that book, so I have to discover it myself. And then third introduction question, what is your best productivity tool, one that you wouldn't want to live without?
Yeah. So my best productivity tool, Alex, I gotta be honest with you, it's probably my dry erase board. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, it's easy for me to manipulate, to change, it doesn't require going through different steps and everything like that, but it's right there. I can see it at all times. It's lifesaver. Yeah.
Right. Okay, cool. And now about Twitter. So Twitter, first of all, what I discovered Twitter this year is actually that Twitter is not only a social network. I thought it was just a social network, but actually what I discovered it is a micro blogging site, which I didn't know. And it is for me now my university of learning new stuff, especially on writing and also on skills, skills for the new age, so to speak. So first question about Twitter is, what would you say, what is the advantage of Twitter to grow your network?
Yeah. So the advantage to grow your network, is tremendous. The more eyes that you can get on your content and, on your goods or services, whatever your business is or side hustle, you can really use Twitter to help scale it up. You can really kind of hack your analytical game and, make value added content that's more geared for your audience and, for your clients and customers. I think a lot of times people, they kind of, you want to take a step back and see what your audience needs and see what your customers needs and then fulfill those needs. And Twitter is a great avenue in order to do that.
To find that out, yeah. I'm actually experiencing that right now because in terms of there is a way of engaging with people who are interested in the same thing on Twitter that is quite unique, I find. I don't know about you. It's not like on the other social networks, you just plow your stuff out, but on Twitter it's different. You find those people that are interested in the same thing by engaging with them in a Twitter way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So definitely. And then second question would be, how would you say, how does Twitter help you to promote your business?
Really, it helps too because, it kind of acts as a funnel almost. When you find someone or you come across someone that's, really engaging with your content, you can make that initial contact and, hey, DM that person, or that person will end up actually like clicking on like, a website or like a booking page. And then we kind of have a touch basis that way. So by making content that's either like funny, that's emotional, or that's inspiring, those are ways that you can really get people to really engage with you a lot more and come to your business.
Yeah, and it's actually, I thought it was quite anonymous, but no, it used, like I experienced that right now. It's actually, you create your own circle of people on Twitter, isn't it like that?
Hmm.
It's
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
personal, and then you adapt your content to that.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, putting yourself out there more and more, don't ever be afraid of it because there's always a need in the market. And, whatever you're doing for business or whatever service you're providing, there's most likely a need for it out there. So it's just a matter of putting yourself out there.
Exactly. And I saw what you're doing at the moment. You ask questions. I find that
Oh,
quite,
yeah.
it's nice because you ask punctual questions about your specific subject, and then I guess from the answers you get, you develop further what you're going to put out there, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that's one kind of methodology as well. That way you can kind of gauge sort of the audience or where they're kind of coming from the verbiage that they use, from the examples that they might say about it, or from different pain points that they may have on said subject. From there you can kind of curate your content to better adhere to those needs of people that engage with you the most.
Yeah, I guess the word is curate, exactly. And that is what Twitter is facilitating. It's quite powerful, that mechanism that it creates. And it's totally different to the dynamic you would have on LinkedIn. That would be a question as well. How would you say, what are the differences and what are the advantages like to LinkedIn compared to LinkedIn? Because LinkedIn, obviously people say it's the business network, but then Twitter is as well, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So they definitely both have like their similarities. They can complement each other. But yeah, in my opinion, and with my use of it, LinkedIn is much more formal and it's much more professional. As opposed to Twitter, I think Twitter is a place where you can more express your freedom of speech and then get more people to engage with you that way. At its kind of like core. But as far as business as well, I think that you have a better chance to be more creative and allow more of your creativity to show on Twitter as opposed to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is great for making those connections and saying who you know, but I think Twitter is a place where you can more so demonstrate what you know.
I have also a feeling like the feeling I have with LinkedIn now compared to Twitter, and before I was only on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is corporate. It's for people who work in corporate business. And Twitter, I have a feeling, is more for those people who, as you say, create, just do their thing and don't necessarily think about what is my job. They think about
Mm-hmm.
what do I want to build or create, and then it's around that building. It's more
Mm-hmm.
content related, whereas LinkedIn is more like for people looking for jobs. That's my feeling at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, I could definitely concur with that as well. I get that sense too that Twitter is more of like your freelance and small business minded people versus LinkedIn is kind of more for like the corporate, who knows who, and that's great too, getting
Yeah.
getting started definitely in corporate America. It's more so about who you know and then what you know can be taught on the job as well. So they definitely both have their advantages. But I personally I use Twitter more because like I said, it
Yeah,
really
me too now. And I don't know how it did without Twitter. It's a complete different feeling as well. And it's funny, isn't it? Because every social network has a complete different feel to it.
mhm.
It's like if you go on Twitter, it's a distinct Twitter feeling. Like I don't know
Mhm.
how to describe it. It's a different way of engaging. Also, the way it's formatting, it's the posts. The way in which you can do threads. That format is actually facilitating the way in which people engage.
No,
So
no, yeah.
my feeling with it. Okay, next question. So what would you recommend somebody who's just starting out on Twitter, like me some month ago?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, someone starting fresh out, they make their account, let's say their username and password, and they're ready to go. One of the first things I would say to do is to start checking out engagement groups. Start joining some of the engagement groups that have very high reviews, very positive reviews. The reason for that too, as well, is to start making connections and friendships of people who are already, have their kind of like have like a foot set in the game essentially. And where I'm going with that is, Twitter is a networking site at its core. So, when you engage with someone and when you talk to someone, you're kind of forming a bond of someone of mutual interest. And so, when you're starting out, join those networking groups, and that's going to help you to grow as well. Second is I would say, join or try to follow around like 100 people or so of creators that are also in your space. And doing that, you're going to start to kind of make yourself more reputable. You're going to start to make yourself a little bit more authoritative because, you're going to be able to take, all the information that you're seeing from those followers and kind of, pinpoint different things down that strike a chord with you. And then lastly, I'd say if someone, if they're starting out on Twitter, open up your DMs and then reach out to different people. And I know that's something I see lacking a lot is that people want to grow, and they have great content too, but they have their DMs closed, and it limits
and
how
they
much
never respond. Yeah, I made that experience as well.
Yeah, right. So,
Did you have that as well? Some actually have bots to respond for them, and that actually shocked me. There's so many people out there who don't respond personally; they just let a bot respond to you. Did you have that experience as well?
Yeah, I definitely did experience that a couple of times, and it was kind of funny because at first I saw the DM, I was like, okay, cool, they had messaged me out or reached out first, but then I read it, and it just kind of sounded sort of like scripted, almost kind of generic, kind of like the dear Lee, such and such and such. So I was like, that's kind of interesting. I don't think I would necessarily turn towards that. I would make mine a lot more impressionable, And so with Twitter, you can definitely kind of tell the real you can tell the authentic from more so like, not authentic, I would say.
And after some exchanges as well with the bots, after 5 minutes, you realize, oh, it's a bot I'm talking to, or robots, and then you just stop. So yes, I guess it's useful for businesses who want to scale or whatever. But if you're really into that thing that we were just talking about, developing ideas, learning, building something in a small circle first, then I guess it's not purposeful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the other question also was, so you have different hats in your professional life. You work as a financial advisor and you also work as an engineer. And as a financial advisor, you actually use Twitter to help your clients achieve financial freedom. Can you let us know a bit more about that?
Yep. So here in the States, unfortunately, only about 6 out of 50 states require a standalone course in personal finance in order to graduate high school. So what happens is, a lot of people, they'll basically graduate and then they step into the real world and have to fend for themselves. But the lack of financial literacy, I'd say, is where I come in to help fill in the gap the most, and I enjoy doing that. So a lot of my content is themed around building wealth, living a wealthy lifestyle. But in order to achieve that level of financial freedom, you have to really know how money works. You kind of have to know, different avenues, different places of where you want to go as well. So, I do a few different things within that arena, as far as financial advising and as a financial strategist as well. So it's pretty rewarding, and I like to see the light bulb come on with in other people's heads when we can kind of really tell them, well, hey, certain accounts are gonna have different tax brackets or whatnot, and then certain accounts you're gonna have fluctuations in your account versus an index versus a variable account, for instance. And so it's just nice to be able to use Twitter in that way to basically kind of help funnel and to really help those people.
You use it to educate as well, right? That's what I observe as well. You ask questions that actually help people being more aware, first of all, of what is out there, and then also to realize what it is. I saw some of your engagement questions that you put out there, and it helps people to understand, okay, what are we actually talking about? What is actually an index fund? What is it?
Yeah.
That is what you mean, right? Financial
Mm-hmm.
literacy, to have people, first of all, to learn. And then do you actually also acquire clients via Twitter?
Yep. So, like I said, I have a website on my Twitter, and then from there they can book a session, or they can ask me questions on there, and then from that, I will usually set up a session, and then we kind of have the first touch point, within our system to be able to help people out in need and different clients and whatnot.
Right, that's great. So actually, if you are okay with that, we're going to link the information to that one as well in the video description.
Oh, yes,
For
by all
that
means.
financial link, or for that financial site, but it's only available in the US. That is correct.
Yep. So for right now, just the US and Canada. Our main brokerage that we use is a company called Transamerica. So Transamerica basically is a sister company, or a company within under a company of Aegon. Now, Aegon is represented in over 25 markets across the globe. They've been in business for over 200 years. And Aegon is basically our financial horsepower to give us the money backing to be able to, give us the deep pockets to be able to help out each client. And then from there, our brokerage is Transamerica, and as well as, other financial providers that we have access to.
Okay, great. So we're going to provide that information as well in the video. And then the last question on Twitter actually would be, what would you say, what is the best complementary tool from your experience that you use together with Twitter? So, like, what do you combine Twitter with?
Yeah. No, yeah, there are definitely a lot of good ones out there. There's Tweet Hunter, there's Discord, there's Telegram. There's a lot of different, I guess you could say, like, there's different even like subsystems to help you out there. But my favorite is Discord. Okay.
Yes, you
So
mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah. So I really do enjoy Discord. That's where most of my engagement groups that I'm, a part of within Twitter. They're also on Discord as well. And so Discord is another kind of like social networking site in and of itself, but it's more messaging and chat room based. And I really like it because the ones I'm in, the channels they're very fruitful. They give you information that you can see results on immediately. So.
And
Discord.
so you have so it's like a combination of communities that comes together on Discord, and then you combine that with Twitter.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and also you mentioned last time Discord. I still haven't had time to check it out myself, but it's more for younger people. Is that correct, or would that be prejudice? Or is it all ages on Discord?
No, yeah, it's definitely all ages. Anybody can take advantage of it. If you're just kind of sitting down, willing to kind of learn, play with it, maneuver through it and whatnot, then yeah, you definitely can get a great amount of value of it, regardless of your age or where you're at.
Okay, great. So I need to check that definitely out as well. And so on Discord as well, you have like a handle like on Twitter?
Kind of, sort of, yep.
Okay, so we can link that as well in the video description. Because I don't know Discord yet, so I don't know what to...
Okay, yeah, gotcha. So Discord, it mainly operates more so on channels. And so you have your personal link, and that'll take you to like a page of basically your profile. But to get in different channels and groups on Discord, you kind of have to have a link, a personalized link to get there. You click on the link, you click join, if it's a subscription base, you'll set that up. And then from there, you pretty much have access to the entire Discord, that entire Discord channel with different rooms and different things like that.
Right. So so the Discord channel is what you would link in, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's do that. And then I will discover that as well. That's great. That were all the questions. Thank you so much. So we will link all the wonderful information about Twitter, about what you're doing in the description. And then, of course, also how to get in touch with you on Twitter or on Discord. And thank you very much for the interview.
No problem, Alex. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you.